All right, let's kick things off today with a deep dive into La Liga. We're looking at the latest standings from Eurosport, and man, the 2024-2025 season is getting intense.
It really is.
Yeah, just looking at this table, you can feel the drama.
Oh, absolutely. Every single stat tells a story. Months of work, strategy, and a little bit of luck all come down to this.
Right. And speaking of stories, the battle at the top is absolutely electric.
Oh, yeah.
Barcelona and Real Madrid are tied neck and neck at 51 points.
Wow, that's close.
And it's not just them. Atletico Madrid is right there, too, with 50 points. I can't remember a title race this tight.
Yeah, the pressure must be unbelievable. Every match is crucial.
Totally. One slip up and it could all change.
A draw is a setback and a loss. Forget about it.
Absolutely devastating at this point in the season. But while those giants are deking it out at the top, there's a surprise contender making waves further down.
Who's that?
Athletic Club. They're sitting pretty in fourth place with 45 points.
Now that is interesting. What's their secret?
Well, they've built a real fortress around their goal, haven't they?
It seems so. Only 21 goals conceded this season.
Even fewer than Barcelona.
Their manager's new formation, the 5-3-2, seems to be working wonders. Really solidified their defense.
So it's not just about scoring goals, but preventing them too. Though, you gotta admire a team like Villarreal CF. They're fifth, and they've already scored, get this, 47 goals.
Wow.
They're a goal-scoring machine. I mean, is that attacking style the key to their success, you think?
It's definitely a big part of it. That high-pressing, possession-based game, it's really exciting to watch. All those quick passes and movement, constantly creating chances. But it's risky too, you know?
Yeah, I guess it's high risk, high reward.
Exactly. They've conceded 37 goals, more than any other team in the top 7.
So there's no one right way to win in La Liga, huh? Some teams lock down their defense, others just go all out on offense.
And then there are those fighting for balance, trying to find that sweet spot.
Right, which brings us to the middle of the table. It's a real scramble for those European qualification spots.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Rayo Vallecano, RCD Mallorca, Real Betis, CA Osasuna, they're all clustered between 30 and 35 points.
Every point matters.
Oh, absolutely. A spot in Europe means more than just bragging rights. It's about prestige, revenue, the chance to compete at the highest level.
Right, you're playing against the best of the best from across the continent.
And speaking of intense battles, let's not forget the drama unfolding at the bottom of the table.
Ah, yes, the dreaded relegation zone.
No team wants to be there. Valencia CF, Deportivo Alaves, and Real Valladolid are all in real danger of dropping down.
They're in a fight for survival.
Especially Real Valladolid. They've only managed to score 15 goals this entire season.
Ouch.
Less than half of what the top teams are scoring. And their goal difference, a painful -37.
That really shows how important a balanced team is. A weak attack can hold you back, but a shaky defense, that could be fatal in La Liga.
Absolutely. Okay, before we go deeper into specific teams, I want to mention Eurosport. They're the ones giving us all this insight, and it's not just football they cover, right?
No, not at all. They've got everything from snooker to tennis to cycling, even winter sports. It's a one-stop shop for sports fans.
And speaking of changes, there's a big one coming for Eurosport, the merger with TNT Sports.
Yeah, that's a huge development. It could really shake things up in sports broadcasting.
For sure, it'll be interesting to see how that impacts things going forward. So we've set the scene, looked at the battles at the top, middle, and bottom of the table, and even talked a bit about the future of sports broadcasting. But now it's time to focus on individual teams and their unique stories. We'll be back in a flash to do just that, so don't go anywhere. And we're back. Time to zoom in on some individual teams and their stories. We've seen the battlefield. Now let's meet the warriors.
Yeah, each team's position on the table tells a different story. The decisions, the performances, those lucky breaks, it all comes together.
So let's start with our surprise package. Athletic Club holding strong in fourth. We talked about their defense, but what else is going right?
Well, they really become a cohesive unit. A lot of credit goes to their manager for that. He's instilled this work ethic and discipline. You can see it on the pitch.
Yeah, they may not have those big-name stars, but they're definitely playing like a team, greater than the sum of their parts.
Absolutely.
But speaking of stars, we can't forget Villarreal CF and all those goals. 47 of them. Are they relying on a single striker, or is it more of a team effort?
It's definitely a team effort. They've got some great attackers, but their whole style is about fluid, dynamic play, all those quick passes, the movement, always keeping the opponent guessing.
So it's not just about individual talent, it's how they work together.
Exactly.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about those teams battling for those European qualification spots. Remember that group in the middle?
Oh yeah, it's tight there.
Rayo Vallecano, RCD Mallorca, Real Betis, CA Osasuna, all within a few points of each other. What's going to separate them? What do they need to do to secure that European spot?
Well, consistency is going to be huge. Need to keep winning, avoid those bad losses. Every point matters, you know.
Yeah, one slip up could mean missing out on the chance to play against the best in Europe.
And don't forget, a team like Girona FC could make a run.
Oh, right, they're down in 10th, but they've shown they can beat anyone.
They've had some impressive wins. That attacking style can cause problems for any team.
But you know what they say? One team's rise is another team's fall. And speaking of falling, I'm a little worried about Real Betis.
Yeah, they've been inconsistent.
Their goal difference just screams trouble to me. Like they haven't quite found that balance yet.
They're eighth now, which sounds okay, but it wouldn't take much for them to slide down. A few bad results, and suddenly they're out of the running for Europe.
Every point matters in La Liga, you're right. But things are even more intense at the bottom of the table, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Relegation battles are always heartbreaking.
You see a team like Valencia CF, a club with so much history, fighting to stay up. It's tough.
It really shows how competitive La Liga is. No team can afford to relax.
And let's not forget about Deportivo Alaves and Real Valladolid. They're right in the thick of it, too.
They show a lot of heart, those teams, but it's an uphill battle.
Every match is a must-win for them.
Absolutely.
So we've seen the stories at the top, the middle, the bottom. Every team's fighting their own battle. Before we get into predictions, though, let's take a breath and let all this sink in for a moment.
Yeah, the league is complex, isn't it? One little change, one moment of magic, it can have a huge impact on the whole table.
Right, and we'll be back in just a minute to talk about who might surprise us in the second half of the season, who might make a move. Don't go anywhere, the drama's just getting started. Okay, we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into La Liga. We've talked about the title race, the fight for Europe, the relegation battle, the whole shebang. But things are about to get even more interesting, wouldn't you say?
Oh, for sure. The second half of the season is where it all comes to a head.
Right, the pressure's on, the stakes are higher, you never know what's going to happen. So let's put on our prediction hats for a minute. Based on what we've seen, which teams do you think could make a big jump in the standings?
Well, I'm really curious about Sevilla FC. They're kind of mid-table right now, but they've been a strong team in recent years.
Yeah, they have a history of exceeding expectations.
They've got the talent, a good manager, and a real knack for pulling off surprises. I wouldn't be shocked to see them climb up and grab a European spot.
Interesting. But if Sevilla rises, someone else has to fall, right? Any teams in that mid-table pack you think might be vulnerable?
You know, Real Betis is still on my mind. They just haven't been consistent enough. And that goal difference is troubling.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if they've really found the right balance.
If they don't fix those defensive issues, they could easily slip down.
A few bad results and they're out of the European race. But while we're talking about potential movers, we can't forget about the drama at the bottom of the table. Who do you see as being in the most danger of going down?
It's tough to say, but Valencia CF is really struggling. They're a proud club, but their form right now is worrisome.
Yeah, they've got to find a way to stop leaking goals, and fast. They need to start winning matches, or they could be playing in the second division next year.
It would be heartbreaking for their fans, but La Liga is ruthless. No team is safe.
It's true. One minute you're comfortable, the next you're fighting for survival. But hey, maybe Valencia will pull off a miracle escape. Stranger things have happened.
That's the beauty of football. You just never know. We can analyze and predict all we want, but there's always that element of unpredictability.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a question to ponder. Thinking about everything we've discussed today, the title race, the fight for Europe, the relegation battle, all those team stories, which team do you think will be the biggest surprise of the second half of the season? Will someone come out of nowhere and make a run for the top, or will a team that seems safe suddenly crumble? Only time will tell. That's what makes La Liga so exciting. It's a story that's still being written, full of twists and turns. So keep watching, keep cheering, and keep exploring the world of Spanish football. And for all the latest news, analysis, and those incredible highlights, make sure to check out Eurosport. It's your go-to source for all things sports. Until next time, keep diving deep.